Welcome back from break. We're here going straight into task one. These tasks are going to go pretty quick, but I also want you to be aware that each task has been reworded to make it make more sense. And at the top of each task, you'll see a very brief description so that we can move very swiftly through them. So here we have advocate for Agile principles. We have modeling Agile principles. In other words, be a model of the Agile principles, discuss Agile values with people, stakeholders, team members, and develop a shared mindset across the team and stakeholders. So it is expected of you. Roy, any comments on this? I think you've prepared us quite well with your going into the manifesto values and principles.
Yeah, I think we're pretty well set up, and some of the sidebar conversations about the mindset, and I think it was Chandra who mentioned the way of working, right? And that's become a very, very popular phrase.
Yeah,
we want to develop that way of working rather than just, it's not practices and process, it's a way of working, right?
absolutely. Let's take a very quick quiz about this. Speaking about why we, in the first place, decide an agile way of working, do you recall this image? What is it known as? 3, 2, and 1. Let's end the poll and let's take a look at the brilliant results. It seems like everyone remembers this one, Roy. It is indeed the Stacy complexity model. Great job. And that takes us into the talk about the Stacy model for those folks who have never encountered it before. Roy, can you give us a brief summary regarding it?
Yeah, absolutely. So this is designed to help us understand the work that we are about to take on and how we might apply which kinds of processes to it. So basically there are different domains. Obviously, there's the very simple domain, which is you have agreement, you have certainty. This is easy, right? This is kind of like just eating, right? We know how to do it, right? So it's just stuff that we know. You really don't need to think about it very much. Things that a child could do. That's what we kind of think of in this simple space. Now, as we move out a little bit, now it becomes a little more complicated. There's an amount of uncertainty, maybe some disagreements because of that uncertainty. So now we're getting into that complicated space. Now, the waterfall, traditional predictive approaches tend to work really well in the complicated to simple domains. And these are areas where you can define everything up front, follow the process exactly or very closely, and have a very predictable outcome as a result, right? The example I always use with this is assembling a watch, right? As long as you define every single step exactly and follow every single step exactly, then at the end, you have an assembled functional watch, right? Any deviation from that series of instructions is considered a defect. Pretty straightforward, right? Now, as we get a little bit further out, now you're starting to enter the complex domain. Now there's more uncertainty, less agreement, maybe no agreement. So this is a very different world. This is where you need more adaptive approaches. You need to be able to experiment, try something, fail, and learn something along the way, the empirical process methodology. So we rely much more heavily on empiricism. In this space, you can't define everything up front because you don't know everything. You can't come to good decisions because, again, there's a high level of uncertainty. And in this space, this is where Agile works extremely well. Now, I do want to point out, Agile can work in the other spaces as well. The complicated and simple space can definitely do that, but maybe less. We always think about Agile as meaning it has to be high change. Well, actually, it doesn't. You don't have to expect everything to change when you're using Agile. It's just that it accepts change. It allows that change to happen. In the complex space, that's where we're talking about things like driving to work, right? When you're driving to work, you know where you're expected to go. You know generally how you're going to get there. You might have routes that you typically take, but 1,000 things could get in your way and change how you get there. That's the complex space. So you think about things like writing software. Every time you write a piece of software, it has never been done before. Just that simple. It's never been done before. There could be 10 ways of doing the exact same thing. So this software is highly complex, and other environments I'm sure you can think of are also highly complex. So adaptive approaches tend to work better there, right? Back to you, Phil.
Thank you, Roy. Great stuff. Moving on from here, Roy, there's one more thing we should talk about before we go fully into task 2 and beyond. And that is the concept of the iron triangle and how we flip the iron triangle on its head in the world of Agile. So in predictive, we see that scope is fixed over here. And then we see that we flip this on its head so that scope becomes flexible in the world of Agile. But Roy, I've had people challenge and say, why would you say cost is fixed in Agile?
Yeah, so here's where we want to get to. Now, first off, let's talk about what cost means in this example. We're talking about labor costs, right? Now, of course, there might be equipment costs and assets of various kinds. It is primarily labor that we're talking about. Labor is usually the most expensive part of a project, usually, not always. So that's really what we're focusing on here. Now, so think about it this way. If you can fix the time, say as an example, a 2-week time box like a sprint or iteration, whatever you want to call it, right? That is a fixed time box. Now, you can also extend that to be fixed release, fixed schedule. You say something is going to be delivered by a certain amount of time, right? And that's a fixed time. Now, if you can fix the time and you can fix the number of people and the people themselves that are working on the project, and that requires some assumptions, some organizational change to go along with this. If you fix the team and fix the time, then the costs will also be fixed because you have the same people working regular 40-hour weeks. Most people are salaried, not everyone, but most people are salaried. We do encourage working consistent, sustainable pace of 40-hour weeks, no more than that. So your costs can generally very closely fixed. A little bit of variability, of course, but that comes with the territory. But if you fix the number of people, the people that are doing the work, and you fix the time box, you can fix your costs, right? We tend to derive costs in Agile, not set the costs, right?
Brilliant stuff, Roy. Well, let's kick the tires here now that you've given us a very good opener for this. Let's go ahead and launch the poll. In Agile, which of the following is fixed? This should be a cakewalk. Three, 2, and 1. Brilliant job. Everyone remembers, indeed, schedule and budget are fixed. That is the correct answer. Now let's flip it and let's ask the question in a different way. Same question, just asked differently. And let's go ahead and relaunch. In plan-driven project management, which of the following is typically flexible? Three, 2, and 1. Let's end the poll. Brilliant choice. That is indeed correct. Lovely. Okay. And with that, we'll just take a final look at what we just discussed. We took a look at task 1, advocate for Agile principles, model them, discuss them, develop a shared mindset across the team and stakeholders, and internalize that manifesto values and principle set. You'll be good to go. And that's task 1.